While many car manufacturers are moving away from the small car segment, Tata Motors is going all out with its new Tata Tiago. Meet the 2026 version of the small hatchback. It gets plenty of update to its exterior, interior features, even the powertrain. Now it gets CNG with AMT and lots more features. I'll tell you everything in this video. We'll also discover what's new with the new Tata Tiago EV, so stay tuned till the end. My name is Haji and you are watching CarWale. Now this is the next generation Tiago. Of course, it gets plenty of exterior overalls. First of all, let's check the face. As you can see, there's massive changes to its face. It gets the new grille layout. The new bumper is very quirky looking. Also, you have multiple color options now. And the best thing is the new Tiago now gets a front camera, which means the new Tiago range gets a 360-degree camera. Now imagine a small car having this feature is something huge. Then as you can see, it gets an updated LED headlamp setup with LED DRLs, and this part is not the part of the OEM factory setting. This is the accessorized version of the Tiago. So this is something you can get with the all new Tiago. Now let's see what has changed on the sides. Now the side profile is equally new. Of course, you get the similar silhouette, but there's lots of changes. First of all, you get 15-inch alloy wheels. These are proper alloy wheels, not your regular steel rims. It looks very classy, dual tone finish, the 15-inch tires. Of course, all these things are part of the accessories. Apart from that, you get a 360-degree camera. And again, these are the part of the accessories, even the roof rails. But overall, the design is a lot similar to the previous version. But I quite like it in this color. There's more colors which we'll discover later in this video. Now, this is where things get interesting. I really like the new rear profile of the Tiago. You get a connected tail lamp setup. This is LED. Also, there's this new design for the defogger. There's a rear wiper. High mount stop lamp. Overall, the rear profile looks very modern, very classy. And again, this color is just looking pretty. And all the elements come together really well for the new Tiago. Now, let's quickly talk about the variants and powertrain. Well, this Tiago is a standard 1.2-liter NA petrol engine offered with 2 gearbox options, 5-speed manual and AMT gearbox. About the variant, you get 6 variants to choose from. There's Smart, Pure, Pure Plus A, Creative and Creative Plus. And now let's move on to the CNG version and see what's new with the CNG version. Now this is of course the CNG version. You get 1.2-liter NA petrol engine mated with the twin-cylinder CNG technology with 5-speed manual and AMT gearbox. Now on the topic of the CNG, let's quickly see what kind of boot space you're getting with the Tata Tiago CNG. Well, of course, there's twin-cylinder CNG tech, and this is where it is stored. As you can see, there are twin cylinders, but even with that, you have pretty much usable boot space. You can carry at least one cabin size bag with a backpack. Now talking about the steering wheel, of course, you get the twin spoke design that is familiar with other Tata models, but the panel right here in the between is not glossy. It is matte finish, so it is pretty much fingerprint magnet resistant, so you won't have lots of fingerprints here. You get a button or you get switches to control the media navigation, and the center console is very free. You have twin wireless charger, which is again segments first, and also 65-watt charging with a wired charger. You have cup holders and this key, which is again very similar to other Tata models. There are a few misses. You don't get a sunroof, and that is again something you have to live with because this is a smaller car and I feel that is asking too much. And IRVM also, this is the CNG trim, so you don't get the auto dimming IRVM that is missing here. Apart from that, the cabin feels very, very new, and it is a lot on the lines with the Sierra. It has very borrowed elements in terms of fabric and design. So also the window switches is new. So that's how I feel about the interior of the all new Tata Tiago. Now let's take the second row. Now I'm in the second row of the Tiago, the new Tiago, and of course there are plenty of changes when it comes to the fabric quality, the overall design language. First of all, the seat is very comfortable. It can accommodate me and at least another passenger of my size easily. There's no armrest, and the headrest is integrated into the seat base, and the headrest is integrated. Apart from that, I have a decent amount of legroom. There's no issue with the headroom. Of course, you miss out on sunroof, but that's just asking much. You have now rear AC vent, which is a welcome addition. It was missing in the previous version. However, there's no charging port at the back. And the overall cabin quality has drastically improved. You get very good soft touch materials. This panel where there's window switch, it is also new, and it is similar to what we have seen with the Sierra. So with the new Tata Tiago, for just an entry level price of 4.69 lakh. I think Tata Motors is targeting a younger crowd with next gen features, with modern interiors, overall aesthetic crowd which wants very visually pleasing cars. So this was everything about the Tiago petrol and CNG. Now it's time to see what's on offer with the new Tata Tiago EV.
Now let's talk about the EV, the Tiago EV. Now this is equally refreshed, this is equally new, and prices for this car with battery as a service, if you take that option, well, it comes down to 4.69 lakhs ex showroom. Whereas if you take it with the battery as a full package, the Tiago EV now costs between 7 lakhs and 10 lakh rupees. So now let's check out what all the Tiago EV has to offer in terms of new design, features, and that you guys must be wondering in case the Tiago EV now gets a larger battery pack or not. Well, let's check out. So design wise, it's a whole new look. The face is entirely new like the ICE model, except with the EV you get a completely blocked off look here. You don't need additional ventilation because there's no engine here. You only have a certain level of vents here for some cooling. On the sides, the alloy wheel design, well, it's these are not really alloys. These seem like wheel covers to me, and they are one size smaller than the ICE model. Now these are 14-inch wheels. You get 14-inch wheels even in the most expensive version. Like the ICE version, the profile is pretty much the same as before. Tata has not that much in terms of changes, but they have completely changed the front and the rear look. Now, speaking of which, let's come to the rear and let me talk you through the design changes. At the back, you get a light bar, but this middle section, I believe, is not illuminated. And of course, like with other Tata EVs, you get green badging for the tailgate, and also you get a rear defogger, rear wiper, and this blacked out spoiler type element for the EV. So all in all, Tata has completely changed the front and the back look of the Tiago EV, and it looks better. It looks a lot more modern, and it looks like it belongs in the current age as opposed to the previous model, which started to feel like its age really, especially if you compare it to the competition. Well, speaking of the specs for the battery pack and the charging options, well, disappointingly enough, Tata has not improved the size of the battery packs. You still get 19 kilowatt hour as the starting point for the Tiago EV, and there's also a 24 kilowatt hour battery pack. Now, as for the real world range, Tata is claiming around 210 to 220 kilometers for the larger battery pack. And as for the charging capabilities, well, there is one improvement here. Tata says the Tiago EV now charges much faster than before. In fact, it can it can give you a range of around 100 kilometers in just 18 minutes of charging. Although that is with the DC fast charger, which gets you speeds of around 30 kilowatt hour for the charger. So that's only with the fast charger, but otherwise the specs are pretty much the same as before, although they have improved the thermal efficiency of this car, so it will perform better no matter what temperatures there are outside, and it will also be more consistent. And also one more thing to note, the battery is still the LFP type battery. It's not there are no changes on that front. So yeah, mechanically also it's pretty much the same as before, although in the real world we can expect slightly more range with the new Tiago EV. And finally, you now get a 360-degree camera system on the Tiago EV. Now, this is of course a high-end feature that has been introduced in this segment. In fact, the Tiago is the only hatchback in its segment to get this feature. And you also get this lane watch sort of system, wherein if you flick the turn indicator to either side, and it will show you the images from behind. So that makes it easier to drive in city. So all in all, this cabin, it looks good. It has a lot of features. So that's another positive when it comes to the feature set of the Tiago EV. So that's the Tiago EV for you. Yours for 7 lakh rupees if you go for the base variant, whereas the most expensive variant costs 10 lakh rupees. And if you go with the battery as a service subscription model, then the Tiago will cost you just 4.69 lakh rupees. Now, compared to the other small EV that you have in the market, which is the MG Comet, well, that's available for around 4.99 lakhs if I'm not wrong with BAS, whereas this car is slightly cheaper, even though it's larger and it can carry more people more comfortably. So it all depends on your choice. If you want a micro car that's easier to park, easy to drive in crowded cities, and very manageable in traffic, then maybe the Comet is the one for you. But if you want a more substantial car, if you want something that can easily accommodate 5 people, and also something that can that feels more comfortable on the highway, then maybe this is the better choice. Either way, let us know in the comments if you would go for the MG Comet EV or this new Tiago EV.